Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Car presented by TRHS Sports. We are here on August 10th. Oh, no, I'm sorry, August 11th. After going a 4-1 on August 10th, we had a great day yesterday. If you hopped on, you definitely were satisfied. Our one MLB bet absolutely crushed it. We had the Phillies over 5.5 runs. They scored 10 runs by the end of the second inning. Always awesome to see something like that happen early on. The Nuggets plus 5.5. They lose on a buzzer beater 3, essentially. Booker over 26.5. He was hitting shots from half court. He was absolutely out of his mind yesterday. And the Raptors plus 6. That one was really never in doubt the entire game. They won the game. They dominated the game. They looked great the entire game. And that one hit easy. Our only loss was the OKC plus 7.5, which was an idiot bet by me. And hopefully you could tell by the tremor in my voice that I was not super confident in it as I started to realize who was not playing for that team. I didn't realize it before we went live. The news hadn't really come out yet. And then as soon as I started looking, somebody was putting in the chat, this guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's out. And I idiotically made the decision to not change up my bet and just take it off. I got too stuck in my ways. I should have just pulled it, but I didn't. And therefore we went 4-1 instead of 4-0. Today's slate is a lot more difficult. It's a lot more difficult. I'm looking at this. The NBA is just getting so complicated. If you've been following the NBA lines right now, you're probably going crazy. The Spurs opened as 4-point dogs yesterday. They got all the way up to 6-point favorites today. They're 4.5-point favorites now. Phoenix Suns 76ers that opened at about 6 points, I believe, for the Suns. Now they're favored by 9.5. The Grizzlies were 4.5-point dogs. Now it's 3.5. Trailblazers favored by 1, got all the way up to 5. Now it's back down. It's absolutely insane. We got the Pelicans and the Kings. Nobody's playing in that game. And then the Bucks and the Wizards. There's no reason that game should even exist. So I'm going to start here with the NBA, and I'm going to get my NBA bets out of the way because there are a few that I like here. But I just want to kind of talk through these games because it really is crazy. Starting off with the Brooklyn Nets and the Orlando Magic, I have no idea. The Nets seem to win when they're double-digit underdogs, and they seem to lose every other time. That just seems to be what the Brooklyn Nets do. They don't do anything else. It's really frustrating, and I don't know. I can't get a read on them. I'm going to stay away from this game. It's not worth it to me. So whatever. Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs. Now, this one's interesting. The Rockets opened as 4-point favorites. James Harden's not playing. Therefore, the Spurs are now 4.5-point favorites. However, if Derek White isn't playing, I do not like this game at all. If Derek White does play, then I would go ahead and I'd say, yeah, San Antonio probably covers. They have a lot to play for. They're still trying to push for the 8 seed. They got to win this game. They need it. All of that stuff. But if Derek White's not playing, you could see against the Pelicans, they kind of fell apart without Derek White. They did not look good without Derek White. And that really concerns me in this game because if Derek White doesn't play or if he can only play limited minutes, I don't like the Spurs even if the Rockets aren't playing James Harden. I don't trust it. I need more information than that. Suns versus Sixers. I got one for you here, and I'm not sure what everybody's going to think. I got DeAndre Ayton over 18.5 points. Over 18.5 points. Yesterday, he only played 10 minutes because he missed his COVID shot. So he was not able to actually start the game. They had already come back by the time he was coming back into the game. He looked pretty good. Joel Embiid not playing here. Al Horford looking like he's not going to play here. I like Ayton to be able to have his way here. I don't like this spread all the way up at 9.5. That's a lot of points. It's a scary number. I don't know. I mean, probably the Suns are going to cover that just the way they're playing and what the Sixers are putting out there, which really is nothing. But DeAndre Ayton over 18.5, that just feels good to me when he's got really nobody matching up with him down low. I feel like the Suns can get carried away in this game, can really pull away late. I don't think Booker is going to have nearly the game he had yesterday playing on the second half of a back-to-back. I don't think the legs are going to be there to be draining half-court shots like he did yesterday, which was absolutely insane. I was looking at the Suns over for the team over. It's at 117.5. I'm iffy on that one. 117.5 is a pretty big number. They might be blowing out the Sixers by so much they don't need to do anything. I don't like the game over because I don't know if the Sixers are going to score. So why don't I just take the spread? Well, because I just don't know what the Suns are going to be on a back-to-back. Maybe they really take it easy in the fourth quarter because they're winning by 27 and they decide, we don't need to play that hard. 10 points is a lot of points, which is what this is sitting at right now. So I'm going to stick with DeAndre Ayton over 18.5 points. I'm going to put that one on the card. Moving on to the next game. We got the Celtics and the Grizzlies, and this is another bet I'm taking here. Grizzlies are 3.5-point dogs, and I'm all over this one. I really like this one, Grizzlies plus 3.5, putting that one on the card. The reason I like this one so much is because the Celtics have nothing to play for. The Celtics are locked in as the 3 seed. Nobody can catch them. They haven't benched anybody yet this entire time. They've been playing their full team. They don't need to keep playing their full team. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies, if they lose this game, Portland wins. Portland jumps them for the 8 seed, and the Grizzlies do not want that to happen. The Grizzlies want to be in the situation where all they got to do is win one game at the end of all of this because it's looking like Portland's going to win their game today against the Mavericks. So all of that being said, this is a really sketchy spot for the Grizzlies and for the Celtics, because why are the Celtics going to play anybody? I don't think they are. So I like the Grizzlies here at plus 3.5. I think it's a good number. I think it's fair. I think they could still lose the game, lose a really close one. But I'm just not buying that the Celtics are going to play their players the entire time. I mean, look what's happened in a lot of these NBA games as we've gone along here. It really has been kind of like this war of attrition of, are they going to actually play? Like, we see them just start getting beat up a little bit, and then the coach pulls them. Chris Paul played a half yesterday. Yeah, he got the start. Great for him. And then he plays a half. I feel like that's what we're going to see a lot of in this game with the Celtics. So I like the Grizzlies plus 3.5. I think that's a good number. Don't like the over-under in that game at all. Now we go to the Trailblazers Mavericks, and this is dropping now, and I have no idea what's going on. So if somebody does know, I'm going to Roto World. I'm looking it up because I want to make sure I have the correct information. This opened at -1 for the Portland Trailblazers over the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, sounds good. And now it moved all the way up to -5 this morning, and now it's down to -3. I like this at -3. I really do. I didn't like it at -5. I think that's too many points. And as everybody knows, I mean, that's over 2 possessions. So that's really a big number. There's a big difference between 3 and 5. That's for sure when it comes to NBA betting. But I don't know. I guess because Porzingis is not on the injury list and neither is Doncic. So both of them are going to be playing. I guess that's what scares people. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what I just said with the Celtics. What are the Mavericks playing for? They're playing for nothing. And I know they won last night and they were down 22 and they came all the way back, and that was without Luka and that was without Porzingis, but they're playing for nothing. And if that game starts to get physical, if Nurk starts to be physical, if Dame starts to be physical, they're going to pull their players. They're not going to play them the full minutes that they normally play them. I don't see it happening. Why do that when you're going to go into a series against either the Clippers or the Nuggets? Probably the Clippers now, but it could be the Nuggets. You're going into a series against the Clippers, and it's going to have to be a physical series. Like, why would you play your players in this game? That's completely pointless. I don't understand it. So I'm going to go ahead, and because it keeps dropping, I'm going to take Portland -3, and I'm going to put that on the card. So that's all I got for the NBA. I'm going to look at these last 2 games just to give you input as to why I don't like it. Sacramento and New Orleans. I was thinking about taking the over in this game at 233.5, but nobody is playing. Nobody's playing. And Facebook user just said they can mathematically get the 6th, which would be huge. That would be huge. And I know that it's like mathematically possible. So maybe they are playing hard, but the Trailblazers can mathematically get into the playoffs. And I just think that that's so much bigger of a deal. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe I should think about it kind of like what I did with the Thunder yesterday and not get too carried away with this one, because yes, that is motivation to get the 6. There's something there to get the 6. But then I watched the Nuggets yesterday, and they have a chance to get the 2 seed, and they're not playing Jamal Murray or Jokic in the fourth quarter when the game is pretty much tied. If they win that game, they could get the 2 seed. I'm starting to wonder, and I know that the 6 is a big difference from the 7 because playing the Nuggets is a lot easier than having to go in and play the Clippers. There is no denying that. I'm just starting to wonder how much these teams are caring about the seeding of everything, because if they're good in the bubble, they're good in the bubble. It's not like you have to travel or do any of that stuff. You're at home. You're in your home gym. Everybody's in their home gym. So I don't know. I just feel like the motivation for the Blazers is still so much higher. And I honestly think that they're a better team than the Mavericks. I really do. And I know that they haven't looked great in some of their games here. But I do think they're a better team, and especially with the day off now, coming off that, and the Mavs are playing back-to-back, and I know Luka and Porzingis didn't play, but I like the Blazers coming in here at -3. Give me that 1 3-pointer. I'm fine with it. They got everything on the line here, because if they lose, they're not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. They need to win this game, because if they don't win, the Suns are winning. And I'm not 100% sure. Let me look up, but I'm pretty sure that if the Suns win, they actually would pass the Blazers here. But maybe I'm wrong on that. So let me make sure before I start spitting nonsense. If the Suns win and the Blazers lose, the Suns jump over the Blazers. That's crazy. The Blazers need to win this game, and they know it. And yes, the Mavericks are a game behind the Jazz. One loss does them in, one win by the Jazz gets that off. So I'm going to stick with what I was saying. The Blazers need to win this game or they're done, or they're not getting the 8 seed, because the Suns will jump them and they'll never be able to jump the Suns again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with the Portland Trail Blazers at -3. See, I thought this one through, guys. Kings, Pelicans, like I was saying, there's nobody playing in this game. De'Aaron Fox isn't playing. The Pelicans aren't playing anybody. Zion's not starting. Nothing's happening. So 233.5, that would look good. Neither one, I would thought that they would take their frustrations out on each other. But with nobody playing, I can't confidently pick this one. This spread, nobody's playing. Bucks, Wizards, forget it. Don't touch it. It's not worth looking at. The Bucks are probably not going to play everybody. Who knows? Giannis didn't play yesterday because his tooth hurt. That's one of the funniest injury reports for a center I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Giannis, tooth. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. All right, so that's what I got. If you're looking at the card here, I got Portland -3, Grizzlies +3.5, DeAndre Ayton over 18.5. Let's try to make that 3-0 today to bring us to 20 wins. We're at 17-7 right now, looking really good. If the Grizzlies lose and the Blazers win, we're looking almost incredible for that Blazers 8 seed. That would be amazing. So let's see how that ends up going. I'm going big time here on motivation. I really am. Grizzlies and Portland have all the motivation in the world, and the teams they're playing have some, but not nearly as much. So I'm gonna go with Portland. I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies. I'm gonna jump over to the NHL now, because the NHL playoffs start today. That's exciting. That's big news. Everybody likes the NHL playoffs. Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first game. I'm gonna eat the juice and take the Lightning here. I know that right now the Blue Jackets are the team that swept the Lightning last year and completely ruined every Lightning fan's life. They swept them when the Lightning were the 1 seed. They had the most points in the NHL. They were going to win the Stanley Cup, and the Blue Jackets sweep them in the first round. This Blue Jackets team just got out of an insanely tough first-round matchup. Insanely tough. Brutal first-round matchup. And so I like the Lightning. I'm going to eat the juice, and I'm going to take it. They're going to win this game. They're going to win this game. They're a much better team than the Blue Jackets. It's not the same thing as last year, and I like them to get the job done as the better team. Look, the Blue Jackets beat them 4 times last year. That's the one thing. That's the one time that'll happen. That's the one time. Don't be looking too much at history here. Lightning, they're at -160. I've seen them all the way down to -155. Keep looking. Get the best number you can get and take the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're putting the Tampa Bay Lightning on the card. The Calgary Flames are taking on the Dallas Stars, and this one's getting more and more enticing every minute. So this is interesting, because at first I didn't like this one. The Flames, I honestly believe they only beat the Winnipeg Jets because the Winnipeg Jets goalkeeping is atrocious. Hellebuck, horrible. He made some of the worst decisions I've ever seen a goalie make in my entire life watching hockey. I don't understand what he was doing in that series. I don't get it. They're coming in and playing a Stars team that plays really good defense, was able to sneak by the now I'm drawing a blank. The St. Louis Blues to get the 3 seed instead of the 4 seed. I actually think the Flames are the better team to be playing. If I'm the 4 seed, I got to take on the Canucks, and I really like the Canucks right now. So I'm kind of happy that I got the 3 seed. I'm taking on the Flames. I think the Flames might be the best team to be playing in the Western Conference playoff. The Blackhawks are scoring like crazy. Yes, they have no defense, but they can score, which is always scary. And then you have the Coyotes, who looked really good in their series against Nashville. This line keeps shrinking. And because it keeps shrinking, I now think, and this is something that I want to stress here. I'm going to put the Stars on the card, but this is something I want to stress to everybody out there. I'm putting them on the card because the number has just gotten too good. It was all the way up at -140. I saw it yesterday. It's now down minus 113. That's such a big drop. You're getting it at such a good price. It's worth taking the chance on. Look, if you're doing percentage betting, 3%, 4%, 5%, if you're doing your different units, whatever you want to call it, this is not a 5%, 5-unit bet. This is a 3-unit bet. But it's the reason you're doing this bet is because the price just got so good. How can you not take this at this point? Something isn't adding up. The public is all over the Calgary Flames. I like the Stars. I like the Stars here. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the Stars at minus 110 on the card. Minus 113. My bad. Moving down, Bruins, Hurricanes. I'm not touching it. The Bruins swept the Hurricanes last year in the Eastern Conference Final. Right now, the Bruins are favored at minus 137. Puck line, minus 1.5, plus 190. Over-under in this game's 5.5. I got no read on any of it. Nothing. I got nothing on any of it. I don't think the Rangers were all that good. And also, how did they just get the number 1 pick in the NHL draft? That blows my mind. But anyway, I don't really like this one at all. I think the Bruins they need a win. They should get a win. The Hurricanes are coming off a long layoff after beating the Rangers. I actually don't think that that's beneficial when they looked really good against the Rangers. I don't think it's good that they're not playing more now. Like, I think it would have been better if they had more days to play in between. I think this actually hurts them. So I'm not going to touch this one. Chicago versus the Golden Knights. I told everybody I was going to do it, and I stick to my word. If you read my articles, my 5 free daily bets, and now it's become like however many free daily bets I feel like I can find, which has become like 3 or 4. It's not as easy to find 5. But if you've been reading that over my website, betonphilwood.com, I said the Knights are going to win the series, and every game is going over. Now, look, every game is probably not going over, but this game is going over. I have the over 6.5 at plus 100. We're getting it as a dog. That is awesome. I love getting something that I love at a dog price. And the thing is, I think what the main thinking is that the Blackhawks aren't going to be able to score like they did in their first series, which makes sense. They're not going to score like they did against Edmonton. But Vegas is so much better offensively than Edmonton. And Edmonton was scoring 3 or 4 goals a game. I really, really like this one. I like the Golden Knights to get the job done. Maybe put up 6 themselves, and then the Blackhawks put up 1 or 2, and this goes over easily. I think this is going to be one of those games we might get 2 or 3 goals in the first period. I know that is something you could definitely look at, and I was considering, and perhaps is the better bet. So maybe I'll change this one. So everybody stick with me for just 1 second. But over... I'm not seeing the over 1.5 goals in the first period is minus 155. That's a really expensive price for something that I think is going to go over for the entire game. So I'm going to stick with the game, but if you want to eat it a little bit, eat the juice, go minus 155 on the over 1.5 for the first period. I like the Knights to just score. I like them to just score like crazy in this game. Also, total goals in period 2 is actually only over under 2. So if you're looking for something here, that could also be another place you look. I'm telling you, you can go period by period here if you don't want to go completely just with the game. Honestly, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to scratch. We're going to keep both, but we're going to go with the over in the second period of 2 goals. Because if you look, and I'm going to actually look this up, but Chicago Blackhawks, let's look at what they did against the Oilers. Bear with me because I have to do my own research. I don't have a stat boy here. But in their first game against the Oilers, 3 goals in the second period. In their second game against the Oilers, 4 goals in the second period. In their third game against the Oilers, 2 goals in the second period. And then in their last game against the Oilers, only 1 goal in the second period. Vegas Golden Knights, I know that they're more of a third period team. That's what they've shown throughout this entire thing. They've made great comebacks in the third period against the Stars. They were losing 3-1. They end up winning at 5-3. Against the Blues, 6 goals in the second period before the Knights just score 3 unanswered in the final period. Against the Avalanche, 4 goals. So there you go. We're taking 2 bets in this game. I never thought I'd do it. Unfortunately, it's kind of on the same side of something. So if this goes wrong, it goes wrong. But I don't think it's going wrong. That's what everything is pointing to. And it's at a fair price. It's only minus 109, which pretty much makes it an even thing. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say Vegas Golden Knights, Chicago, over 2 goals second period. Cool. So that's what we got for the NHL. It's a lot. Vegas, Chicago over 6.5 at plus 100. Lightning minus 160. Stars minus 113. Vegas, Chicago over 2 goals in the second period. I'm going to jump over very quickly to the what everybody was waiting for this podcast, which is the MLS Final is tonight. I know you're all excited. I haven't been hot with the MLS, unfortunately. If you followed me on my website, I'm hotter over there than I am on this podcast, because over here I was just kind of doing the too advanced thing. On my podcast, I did this insane thing where I predicted how many corners every single team was going to have in the one game and pretty much nailed it. You would have won every bet if you followed on that. Here's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Orlando SC to win the trophy. They're small favorites, not to win in regular time, because this could go to overtime, but I'm going to take them as small favorites here. And I like the over at 2.5. Both teams won their game to get here 2-1. Both teams like to score. I think they both get it done here. So over 2.5. It's a little inflated, minus 130. I'm seeing it right now. So if you have to take that, I would, that's how I would do it, though. But look, I know this isn't a game that people really want me to focus on too much, but if you've been watching this whole tournament, it's the championship game tonight. It's going to be an exciting game. Portland and Orlando, nobody thought either team would be there. I like Orlando a little bit more. They've just looked a little bit better throughout the entire tournament, whereas Portland has been hit or miss. I think that Orlando comes out here. They get this win 2-1. I like them to pull it off. And, yeah, that's really what I got. I mean, that's really what I got. Look, they beat the team that I thought was the best team in the tournament. So, and that was the Minnesota United. If they pull that off, I got to like them here to get the job done and win the entire thing. They're minus 115. It's really small. It's not a big deal. And then the over of 2.5. So that's what I got for MLS. I'll leave that alone and I'll go over to MLB. Here's what I like for the MLB today. And I actually have to pull it up on my phone, but the one bet that I really, really like is the Yankees over 5.5. Now, why do I like that one so much? The Yankees offense hasn't been great lately and all of that. They just got a day off, a day to kind of rest and get things right. And what I like so much about this bet is that while they're going to do this, they also are going up against a Braves team that got shelled yesterday. And therefore, the Braves had to use 4 relievers yesterday and are going with a starter in Toussaint who doesn't really pitch all that well. He doesn't go deep into games. If you look at his recent games, which I'm going to pull up, if you look at his recent games, Toussaint went 6.2 against the Blue Jays, gave up 3 runs. Against the Mets, he went 4 and gave up no runs. Against the Rays, he went 2.2 and gave up 6 runs. So in that Blue Jays game, he went a long time, but also gave up runs. The Yankees over-under is at 5.5. Yankees are a lot better than the Blue Jays. And I know I'm not trying to just use transitive property here, but I'm just saying this guy does not get good starts. He doesn't normally go long. If the Yankees start to hit him early, it's going to force the Braves to go to their bullpen a lot earlier than they want to. And that's going to be a problem for a bullpen that had to be used last night in an absolute blowout. So I like the Yankees over 5.5 here. The other one that I like is this Cleveland Indians mess, which is going on. And right now I'm 2-0 on Cleveland Indians money lines. And Clevenger isn't playing. Clevenger, I hope I'm saying that right. Otherwise, that's going to make me sound stupid. But he's not playing, and instead Adam Plutko is getting the start. The money line's at minus 106. Now, I understand that they're going up against the Chicago Cubs, and the Chicago Cubs are, one of the best teams in baseball. I think they actually have the best record in baseball right now. However, this line was still hovering really high. Vegas left it at minus 130 and let the juice work its way down. This feels like one of those things where, I don't know, Vegas wasn't scared that Clevenger wasn't getting the start for the Indians, and they were okay with it being Adam Plutko. They were okay with it happening. Therefore, I kind of like this one. I like the Indians here. Maybe I'm not gonna put it on the card. I'm actually just telling all of you, take a look at this one. Take a very serious look at this one. And if you were scared away by it, if this keeps going up, 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 and keeps going in favor of the Cubs, don't be afraid to take the Indians, because this is a really, really good price, especially since Vegas didn't seem all that scared by it at first. That's all I got today. That's all I got. I'm not going to go any further into MLB. I've been liking taking just one MLB bet a day. It's gotten us back to 8-6 overall in the season, and we were doing really good. We started off 5-1 in MLB, and then I had a cold streak. Couple games that just didn't go the right way. Were close, but not really. Had 3 losses in episode 4. So I decided, let me just take a step back. do one a day. And right now we're 2-0. I'm gonna look at my best bet, which I think is the Yankees over 5.5. And that's going to be my one MLB bet if you've been following along. So I got Yankees over 5.5, Portland -3, Grizzlies +3.5, DeAndre Ayton over 18.5. For the NHL, I got the Vegas Golden Knights, Chicago over 6.5, underdog odds. Their second period goal total over 2, Lightning -160, Stars -113. Orlando SC to win the trophy tonight, and the MLS is back, and the over in that game to be 2.5. If you are an NHL fan and you wanted to get some futures, my favorite futures were Philadelphia, Montreal under 5.5, Colorado, Arizona under 5.5. These are for how many games would go in the series, and Vancouver to upset the defending Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues in the first round. So if you haven't gotten in on those are ones we talked about yesterday. And if you just missed that episode, you should be in here now. We're 31-22. We're cooking right along. We're doing really well. And I'm sorry, we're not 31-22. We're 32-22. Who's excited? All right, I didn't add in the win for the Nuggets last night. So we're 32-22. We're having a really good go of it right now. Let's hope to keep this hot string going. We got a full slate of things going on today because of the NHL playoffs and the NBA. Probably going to be one of our last really full slates, considering MLS is over after today. The NBA is really starting to wind down, and by this weekend, we'll be down to just the 16 teams. And, the NHL every day, it's going to be one less game for teams. So we're getting down to it now. But if you like what you heard here, make sure to follow me over on my website, betonphilwood.com. I make sure to put out something pretty much every day. I've been putting it out every day since July 30th. This weekend might be a little bit different because without the NBA playoffs, it's like really just going to be, who's playing in the NHL tomorrow? But make sure to follow me over there. I gave all of my predictions for NHL futures. Like I said, if you're an NHL fan, go over there, take a look at what I said. I go through every single matchup. It's worth reading. And then follow me on Twitter at Philwood Jr. You have any questions? You want to know a take on a game? If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Like, I will say I don't know. I'll tell you where I lean. I'll tell you if you should bet it, whatever. But if you want to reach out to me, let me know. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow on the card.